You're listening to Swagger and Soul with Nicola Cairncross and Sarah Cairncross.
Hi everybody, it's Nicola Cairncross here.
And Sarah Cairncross, I am allowed to say my name.
You are indeed, yes, you are indeed. What we'd like to do today is just explain what's happening to us and how it's come to be in the form of an introduction to Swagger and Soul, which is a website, a podcast, and it's going to be a book one day. So, Sarah, do you want to take over from here and just start talking about how it all came?
Just to explain, we are in fact sisters.
Yeah.
If you hadn't guessed,
No.
just in case you wanted to know that.
I'm the older one. You wouldn't have known that though, would you?
And basically, I've been house and pet sitting for the past, since about 2012 actually. And I was on a sit locally, and I just thought, you know what, I'd really quite like to go somewhere for like 6 months or so and settle in one place for a while. So I started looking at house sits for 6 months or longer, and quite a few were coming up in the south of France. Blooming beautiful, I must say. And I was chatting to Nicola about it, and you said, well, you might be up for an adventure too, didn't you?
Yes, because I live in Shoreham by Sea at the moment, and then you come and stay with me, and we're renting off our other sister. And I've lost a friend called Steve just recently, and I think I need a change of scene because it's been 6 months now, and it's been the summer in the UK, and the summer has definitely helped a bit, being able to come out and sit in the garden under the olive tree. But winter's coming now, and I know that it's going to get more and more challenging to be on my own in the house in the rain, because I work from home as well, so I don't see many people during the week. And I just thought, I really need a change of scene. I don't know how I'm going to put my life together now after Steve's gone. And the kids are all grown up, so they're off doing their own thing. So it's really a big turning point in my life. And so when Sarah said, do you want to come and stay in this, somewhere in the south of France with me, I thought, that sounds good. And we sort of looked at a few places, didn't we?
Yeah.
So what were we looking at? There was that one where they wanted you to shoot rodents.
I did laugh because Nicola went on a road trip across
America.
States, yeah. And you got to practice your firearm skills, didn't you?
Well, I'd only ever shot a gun once before, but I went to a range with a bunch of my mates who I was driving across America with. I turned out to be a crack shot. So when this house sit came up, in the south of France, and one of the requirements was you have to be willing to learn to use a shotgun to shoot this big river rodents that pull the back. So, so I quite like the sound of that one. But then we sort of thought about it in a bit more detail. And while France is nice, in the summer particularly, unless you go to the south of France, it's not much sunnier than being in the UK. So if I'm going to uproot myself and pack the house up and, just generally change my life, I don't want to go somewhere where it's just as miserable and rainy and horrible as England, but with nobody around that it's just like, it seems completely pointless. So then we started thinking about where else, and my friend Yvonne, who actually is my cleaning lady, she bought a house in a place called Stoupa in the Peloponnese, which we love. I love that place. I've been going there for years. It was me that told her about Stoupa, and she actually ended up buying a property there with her friend Noreen. And I was thinking, I wonder if they'll be using it much over the winter. And it turned out they weren't planning to. They were planning to just close it up for 6 months. So then we had the idea to talk to Yvonne. Yvonne talked to Noreen.
Nicola. She says we a lot. It's a bit like the royal we.
Yes.
Nicola took it upon herself to...
Yeah.
You got all excited without me even knowing anything.
Well, I just sort of didn't really, because I wasn't... Excited is not the right word, because it's a big step. It's a huge step. And I'm actually a bit... at that stage, I was a bit worried about it and afraid generally. So, but I'm a great believer in feel the fear and do it anyway, and just see what happens. So, what I did was I emailed a friend who lives in the village, and she works with a guy called Elias, who owns Pefco Taverna. Anyone who's been to Stoupa will know Elias and Pefco. And he's got lots of properties, but the problem with his properties are that they're very much geared towards summer lets, and I have stayed in one of his houses before, and out of season, and it's quite bare, only because, in the summer when everything's hot, you don't need as much stuff. But Yvonne's house is furnished as a home, which would be a lot cosier for a longer term stay. So I put the word out to Stella. Yvonne was actually at her house in Stoupa at the time. So Stella walked down the road and said to Yvonne, "Did you know that Nicola's thinking of coming and staying here for the winter?" And I'd only not said anything to Yvonne at that stage because I texted her and her text didn't go through for some reason. I don't know why not. So anyway, so she knows. She came back. She came to do my cleaning and she said, "You're thinking of going to Stoupa, and why don't you stay in our house?" So then we went to see Yvonne and Noreen, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. We did. Noreen wanted to see the whites of her eyes.
Yeah, I
See
think,
what shady characters we are.
yeah, but you've been police checked and everything, so you're not as shady as me. So yeah, we all got on, and at the end of it, we sort of walked out of the house and said, "It sounds like we ought to do this." And I was still trying to prevaricate, but at that point, it started to feel a bit more real, doable, achievable, whatever. So what
was the main fear for you?
Well, there's about 100 of them, Sarah.
Yeah,
Where do I
what's the
start? Where do I start? Well, giving up the
main-
house and not having anywhere to come back to. But that's weird because the whole reason I want to go is to change things around anyway, and force myself, if you like, into a situation where I have to change things. So yeah, lots of fears around insects, scorpions, spiders, sleeping with the doors open at night because that's what they do in Greece when it's hot. They don't have little windows, they have doors. Lots of things. I'm scared of lots of things. I'm not a very brave person, although a lot of people think I am. It's really quite interesting. I'll do anything. I'll stand on stage, I'll do Facebook Live quite happily, but, you know, I'm scared of lots of things. So how did you feel about it at that stage?
My main worry about it, I mean, the south of France felt comfortable to me. Look, we can only see half your head. Do you want to move it
It's all
round
right.
a little bit?
No.
There we
No.
go,
No.
yes.
Why don't you just lean in a bit?
It's your head that was missing.
Yeah, I'm edging out.
Oi. My main fear was that south of France, you think it is easy to get to and from the UK.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a 19 and 22-year-old, and you've got a 19 and a 21.
18 and 21, yeah.
Yeah, he's 19.
Yeah, all right,
isn't
not
he?
soon. Quite soon.
Yeah. So we've got kids similar ages, and, you know, to be honest, they don't really need us at all anymore, which was...
Well, it's not true. They do need us psychologically, but they don't need us to be there all the time, do they?
No. But I sort of like was thinking, well, Stoupa, is it going to be a real pig to get to and from the UK if necessary?
It's not easy out of season. The planes run from up to November and then start again in April. So for a lot of the time we're there, the nearest way of getting in and out of Stoupa is a 45-minute drive to Kalamata, and then a coach or a drive from Kalamata to Athens, and then a plane from Athens. So it's a 2-day trip to get there, really. Because
don't say that,
well,
otherwise they'll never come and visit us.
well, it's not. You know, you can get an EasyJet crack of dawn from Gatwick or somewhere, Stansted, to Athens, and then you can get on a coach to come down, and by the time you get to Kalamata, it's sort of early evening, and
How long
then
does it take? Do you know?
4 hours.
Oh, right, the way
Yes.
you're talking, I thought it
No,
was
it's not.
like an all-dayer.
But going back is more tricky. It's all right. You can do it in a whole day coming down to Stoupa, but going back is more tricky because if you go to Kalamata to get the very early coach, you're quite likely not to have a flight waiting for you at the other end because all the cheap flights go in the morning. So you're probably going to have to stay overnight in Athens just to be able to go back. I have done it in one day, but it was really, really, really tight and stressful. So I think, you know, most of the expats that live out there generally do it in 2 days going back.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because it's easier.
Okay.
So that was your worry, is the fact that you can't just drive across the channel
Yeah.
and drive back again. And that's the other thing, is we're going to have to give up our cars, which, you know, the only other option was to drive down to Greece. And that apparently takes 5 days and costs €1,000, what with the stopovers and everything.
Yeah.
Although Google Maps does say it can be done in 36 hours non-stop.
Yeah, but we would kill each other.
Yeah, so the other thing that made us stop a bit and think about it a bit was the broadband situation, because I work online, you work online, we've got to have good broadband, and there isn't any at the house at the moment. And although I took my dongle out there last time I went, it only works in the village, it doesn't work up on the hill. So we're Yvonne and Noreen are going to put in broadband. They wanted to anyway, but they were only going to do it for 6 months next year. But they're now going to have to do it for a year because they want a smart TV there, because they go out for long periods of time and they want to watch TV. So that's sort of that out of the way. There's still a little bit of about that because they're Brits through and through. They're going to have to go into Kalamata and go into one of the shops there and get the broadband put on. And when I did it last time, we were in the shop and he didn't speak English, but apparently there are people now in the telephone shops that speak English, so fingers crossed for Yvonne and Noreen on that one. But they've got a month to sort it out, and even if it doesn't arrive for a week or two after we get there, I can improvise with my dongle.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, it won't work up the hill. We'll have to go down to a taverna or something.
Oh, what a shame. Yeah. Terrible.
Yeah, so anyway, so there you go. So that's the adventure starting, really. That's the... Tell them a bit about why you want to go and live somewhere. I mean...
What do you mean?
So is there no sort of other reason that you want to go, apart from you fancy staying in the same place for 6 months? Because you've been here for 6 months, haven't you? Coming and going.
Yeah, I want to, I don't know, I suppose I want to have an adventure. It's like, do I want to be in the UK, dark, cold, grey UK for, the next 6 months? Or do I want to go somewhere that's more pleasant, different foods, Yeah,
the food's good.
Yeah.
It's very simple food out there, but it is really good.
I just need a change of scene,
Yeah, we are so bored with our lives.
Yes.
So bored.
Basically.
Oh, it's a lovely day today, as you can see, but that's an Indian summer kind of day.
But it's not even just the weather. It's like just being stuck in a rut. It's I'm coming around to thinking again. What is it I want? What do I want to be experiencing? Where do I want to go with my life? And it was funny because I was on a delayed flight recently and got talking to a lady there, and she's buggering off to Tenerife for 3 months, and she said, maybe longer, maybe not. So there seems to be a bit of a thing for women
of our age.
Children are old enough to fend for themselves, and I sort of like thinking, well, what do I want? What do I like? Where am I going with my life? There must be more than this. Basically,
it's very easy when you've got somewhere to live in the UK and you're in a little town. We're in Shoreham-by-Sea, which is lovely.
Just down the road from Brighton.
Yeah, just down. So it's very easy to get stuck in a rut, isn't it? And it's like a cross between a midlife crisis. With me, it's the grieving process as well. I've never lost anyone like this,
and it's again?
I don't know. It's coming to terms with the grieving process, which I've never experienced before, and it's empty nest. It's stuck in a rut. The other, of course, the huge benefit of house sitting is that you reduce your overheads to nothing because you house sit in return for living somewhere for free, effectively. And although we're going to be paying a little bit of rent, it's minuscule compared with what we pay here. So that'll be a good chance to get a cushion of cash behind us, which I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
And and just have the freedom for me to choose the clients I want to work with. Do Facebook ads and funnel building for people, and sometimes you take clients on you shouldn't because you need you've got overheads and you need to pay the bills. So it'd be really good for me to be able to do a few more experimental projects where perhaps I'm in partnership with someone rather than having to just take the clients on who've got the money to pay you when and perhaps they're not quite the right kind of client. Is the thing. So
that's a biggie actually.
Yeah, it is. Lots of positive reasons to do it. The only negative reasons not to do it is the wildlife. We'll have to knock our shoes out before we put them on because apparently scorpions are very fond of.
Really?
Yeah, I've never actually seen one myself, but apparently they are out there. It's an adventure, and we'll see what happens. And we're going to be chronicling it along the way on the podcast and on Facebook Live if we get a connection up the hill.
Yeah, real and raw as well. It's going to be.
We're going to try and be
really
as honest as possible about it. Good stuff and the bad stuff. Yeah. So join us next episode. We're going to go for weekly episodes like this. We're also going to be blogging individually, aren't we, Sarah?
Yep. I haven't done my blog yet. Nicola's already started.
Oh, yeah, I've started churning them out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so keep up on the blog, swaggerandsoul.com, and subscribe to the podcast and subscribe to the page on Facebook. And we'll be back next week.
Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to Nicola Cairncross and Sarah Cairncross of swaggerandsoul.com. You can visit Nicola at nicolacairncross.com and you can visit Sarah at sarahcairncross.com. Music by Nelzen Nelzen on SoundCloud.